Hello again. EFF leader Julius Malema and his bodyguard Adriaan Snyman were back in the East London Magistrates Court today. The duo stand accused of the unlawful use of a firearm and ammunition. They're also facing 3 counts of contravening the Firearms Control Act. This case relates to video footage of Malema shooting an automatic rifle at the Sisa Dugashe Stadium in East London in 2018. Our reporter Ronald Masinda, following that story for us, is joining us now for an update. Ronald, good afternoon. Welcome to today, and thank you very much for your time. So what happened in court today?
Well, a very intriguing day in court today as 2 witnesses testified. They were cross-examined by co-accused Adriaan Snyman's attorney, as well as Julius Malema, who is also the accused in this matter. And what we also heard is that the 2 witnesses that testified were working for the company that supplied the equipment that was used during those 2018 July celebrations, the 5th birthday celebrations at the Sisa Dugashe Stadium. I'm joined by a couple of guests. I'm going to start off with AfriForum's spokesperson for community safety. Jacques, thank you so much for your time. Initially, we heard from the magistrate announcing that there will not be a trial within a trial. What did you make of today's proceedings?
Well, I think that's the most important thing that came out of today was the fact that a trial within a trial was avoided, and there are no longer any unnecessary time-wasting methods that have been applied here today. And a very important thing that came out of today's court case was the fact that the judge ruled that the video evidence is allowed to be submitted, actually showing Mr. Malema firing this firearm on stage, because I think that puts a lot of speculation to bed. It's good that that evidence was brought into court. We've heard ridiculous excuses in the past that it was actually firecrackers going off and it wasn't a real gun, but you can clearly see in the video footage there's a muzzle flash, you can see that there's recoil on the weapon. It's obviously a real firearm, and we're very glad that that evidence was submitted to prove that point.
Were these witnesses credible witnesses?
I believe the witnesses were credible. These were just people who clarified matters regarding events leading up to this specific incident and also what happened after the incident. So I think the witnesses were credible. I don't think there were any strong wins for anyone in that regard. This was just a factual clarity finding session.
As the complainants, how do you see this case going?
Well, we're glad that the case is continuing to start off with. We know it's been dragging for 4 years, which is very worrisome, because I can assure you that if it was you or I caught on video firing a firearm into a crowd in front of an audience the way that Mr. Malema did, we would have already finished serving our sentence by now. So we're just glad that it's getting momentum. We think the case is looking very positive. All the evidence is stacked up against him, and we're very optimistic.
Jacques, thank you very much for your time. That was Jacques Broderick from AfriForum. I'm going to be bringing in the spokesperson from the NPA here in the Eastern Cape. Luxolo, thank you so much for your time. I mean, this was your 12th witness that you brought in today. How did you feel with proceedings going? Because from what a lot of us saw in the gallery, there were quite a number of holes being punched in the statements.
We think that today's developments are acceptable. We are glad that the matter now is proceeding, and we are going to be calling more witnesses to come testify. As to the cross-examination, we believe that as a state, what we wanted to establish by calling these witnesses was never called into question. One, the fact that they are the ones who were providing the services of taking audiovisual material in that event. And the material that was played today came from them and was kept safe and was never tampered with. So those are the things that we wanted the witnesses to tell the court, and they were never questioned.
Just some of the highlights that came out of today. The first witness saying that he didn't see someone, firing gunshots during the event. He was busy working with monitors. There were 2 cameras on stage. Then the second witness, who was not there, the branch manager, he says that there's a laptop missing. How crucial is this?
I think on our side, we do not feel that it's going to make any difference in the strength of our case, because, as I said, all we wanted to establish today was the fact that the witnesses are the ones who took the audiovisuals and who downloaded the material and handed it over to the investigators. what they saw or didn't see is something that has been canvassed by other witnesses that we have already called. Because you remember, we are on the 12th witness. There are witnesses that we called prior to these witnesses that have actually given context to many things that we believe needed to be put into context.
Just lastly, who can we expect to testify next?
We would not like to speculate on who we're going to call, but we can just say we still have a number of witnesses, more than 8 to be exact, that we still have to call before we can conclude the state's case, and then it will be up to the defense to call their witnesses if they choose to do so. The matter is scheduled to go on in court for the whole week, this week, and then in April again it's going to come back. So we're hoping that by this week we'd have covered a lot of ground, and by April the matter can be concluded, because people want to see justice served.